ride with the truth. Now I'm gonna live my life like it does.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Frank Williams Show. And of course, I am Frank Williams, and today I have a guest. His name is Mr. Shawn Richard, and we're gonna have him speak to you, and we're gonna be covering real issues. We're gonna go into who this man is. He's a powerful brother in the community, and so right now I'm gonna introduce to you Mr. Shawn Richards.
What's up, my brother? Thank you for having me, man.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm
Good
doing
brother.
good, man. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming in, taking some time out your life to come in and kick it with us today,
Most
man.
definitely.
You know, because I felt as though it's important for the community to know a little bit more about you, who you are. You know, we know you the founder of Brothers Against Guns,
Yes,
but
sir.
you know what? I want you to tell a little bit of your own story to this public.
Well, you know, Frank, you know, well, again, thank you for having me, man. And it's, you know, a lot of people, you know, that know I've been around for 20 years. They know that I've been doing this work for a long time. It started back in 1995. But before I go into that, you know, who I am in the community, who I was in the community, you know, back in the days, really was able to give me leverage for me to do the work that I'm doing now. Because I come from the streets. I come from the community. I come from the neighborhoods. I come from the block. I did things that I wasn't proud of, that I'm not happy of, you know what I'm saying, in my past life. So I was able to take a tragedy that happened in my life and turn it into a positive, and also become who I am and a respectful person who I am in the community. My peers, and along with the younger generation and older generation, respected me. 1995, as everybody know the story, but I will, you know, go into it a little deeper. My little brother, Tracy Richard, was shot and killed Easter Sunday of 95. Yeah, and I did want revenge. I'm not going to sit there and lie and say I didn't, you know, because right after he passed away and I seen him on the gurney, it was anger in my heart. And I come from that background. I come from that era where, you know, the times where we was gangbanging and from all over the city. Fillmore, Sunnydale, Lakeview, Hunters Point, Potrero Hill, Army Street, Alamany, Lakeview, all over. You know, we was just beefing, and it was that type of anger in my heart to seek revenge, because at that time, it was an inside your own community that killed my little brother. Friends. So, you know, at that time, I wanted to seek revenge, and, you know, my mom, at the time when she walked through that double doors at San Francisco General, I had to tell her son is gone. She had a mild heart attack and fell to her knees. And that struck more anger in my heart to want revenge. And I remember waiting for her to come out, and I had left the hospital. Before I left the hospital, I was waiting on her. Then I left, and I came back and picked her up, and she said, "Son, don't do nothing, because I got 2 sons left, and I don't want to lose no more. Don't do anything." And I took that to heart, and I didn't do anything, and I kind of pushed back and I let it go, and sitting at home thinking about what can I do, how can I fix this problem. My mother's hurting, I'm hurting. So right after that, I came up with a concept, man, after I buried my little brother, to start an organization called B.A.G, Brothers Against Guns. And my concept was, you know, I'm bagging the guns and getting rid of them. And so I went through a whole process of really just trying to figure out, you know, what direction did I want to go to, what direction I want to take Brothers Against Guns into. And, you know, so people use race and religion and different things as a cover-up to say why you can't do this, why you can't do that. And I never forget, it was an old white man with a long gray beard called my phone, that he seen an article in the newspaper with my phone number, and called me and said, "Meet me at this restaurant, at this coffee shop on Church and Market." And he met me there, and he gave me this thick book, this thick blue book that teach you how to build a nonprofit. And I never knew what a nonprofit was. I never knew that you can do the work, you can hire staff, you can get money to pay yourself and pay staff. I never knew about that, because it wasn't about the money with me, because I always had money. You know, I'm not gonna say I got it, but I always had money.
Well, you just did.
I just had money. So money didn't, you know what I'm saying? Money didn't make me. You know what I'm saying? Money didn't, you know, wasn't a surrounding issue for me to, you know, do this type of work. I just wanted to do something. And so he gave me this book, and he said, "Read this book." And so, you know, the whole story is, you know, black folks don't read books.
Right.
You know, and I'm just keeping it real. You know, I sat down, I read the book. And the book was to talk to you about how to build a nonprofit and how to, you know what I'm saying, get it going. Your goals, your objectives, your bylaws, your article of corporations, everything. So I read it, and I studied it. I went and researched it. So I went to people and said, "Hey, I want you to help me get my nonprofit. Or give me $2,000. Give me $1,500. Give me $3,000." So back in 1995, I started Brothers Against Guns and incorporated my nonprofit for $500. I did it myself. That's how much the federal government charged you, $500 to get your nonprofit. So I did it myself. Sent it in at that time. Right. Sent it in, and in 6 months I was certified as a nonprofit organization. I was proud of myself. You know, I mean, I'm not no dummy. I went to school. I have an A degree. I'm back in school, by the way, everybody. I'm up at San Francisco State. I'll be graduating real soon.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So, you know, so I did my nonprofit. And so therefore, I started pushing and working hard. And so my mentor, she's one of the, I don't care what nobody say, man. I love her to death. You know, Sharon Hewitt. She called me and said, "Look, this is what we about to do."
That's Mama Tubman.
Right.
Mama Tubman, everybody.
Say it one more time.
Mama Tubman, everybody.
Exactly.
The Clear Project.
All the way.
Sunnydale in San Francisco, California.
Exactly. So, you know, she called me. She said, "Look, this is what we about to do. We finna get Brothers Against Guns on the map." I said, "We ain't got no money, so we just finna work with these youngsters from the heart." She said, "Don't worry about no money. Don't worry about it." Not knowing she nominated me for a fellowship with the California Wellness Foundation.
Wow.
And I won the award. It was a $50,000 award. I took the whole $50,000 and put it back into the organization. I took kids on field trips. I helped kids get school clothes. I helped kids go, you know what I'm saying, on college tours and stuff like that.
Hold on one second. Let's talk about the type of kids, though. Let's get a little more specific about the type of kids that you was working with.
The kids that I'm saying that I was working with, that I took on field trips, I'm talking about the ones from low poverty, involved in gangs, mother and fathers on drugs, mother and fathers in jail, grandmothers is raising them, they out of control. I'm talking about kids that's just messing up in school badly, you know, and we was able to turn them around, man, by showing them nothing but pure love. And Sharon showed me how to do that. You know, Sharon Hewitt showed me how to do that. And she called Willie Brown and told Willie Brown, she said, "Look, you need to support this brother." So Willie made a phone call to Gannett Outdoors, where the bus shelters, where they put up the posters and stuff. And they funded a $100,000 gun campaign through the support of Willie Brown, Sharon, and myself. And so all over the city. And the concept was, buying a gun on the streets is cheap, a human life is priceless.
Right.
You know, and Sharon Hewitt came up with that. She helped me come up with that, and she supported me 100%, man. And from there, the organization just started taking off. We start working with these kids, man, and next thing you know, people start donating money to us, and we start doing what we had to do. So we opened up an office, hire staff. You know, as of right now, you know, 1995 to 2015, it's been 20 years. We in 17 schools, you know what I'm saying, throughout San Francisco. We in the Fairfield Unified School District. We're on our way to be in Oakland and Richmond and Vallejo Unified School District. We're working on Antioch. We actually in the community. We still got our office up in West Point, which is Hunter's View.
And what's that address?
245 West Point.
All right.
We had 1325 Evans Street, Suite B. You know, so we're just.
What's the number they can call?
415-225-8937. Yeah. That's our office number. So we still in the community, man. We're not going nowhere. We're still working with the youngsters. We get jobs for the young men. You know, still partnering with Kim Mitchell from Turf through our redirection program. So, you know, I mean, just overall, Brothers Against Guns is still here. Chico Wells is on staff. Chico does a lot of my he's the director of all my school programs. You know, talented brother, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? In the community.
So what your staff consider? Are they ex-offenders? Are they former gang members? What's your staff?
I wouldn't have it no other way, Frank.
Huh?
I wouldn't have it no other way. You know,
so why do you go back and pull them up and hire them?
Because those are the ones that can reach them. Okay. Each one teach one. Okay. See, I'm one of the first members of the Omega Boys Club when it started with 8 of us. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that motto stuck with me. Each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, and then on top of that, you go back and you pull those brothers in because, like I tell everybody, Frank, only a real storybook can tell a real true ending.
I agree with
Think
you.
about that.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? You know just as well as I know.
I need our public to know about why you doing this.
Right, because they need to know that you don't have to have no degree. Anybody can go back to school and get a degree. I'm back in school right now, finna get my B.A.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm 47 years old. But anybody can go back to school and get their degree. But it's what do you have a degree to go into to them streets to reach them young brothers and pull them up out that concrete jungle and make sure they understand what life is all about and say, hey, sit down, young man. Let me lace your boots and let me teach you about life and about more. It's more so living than dying.
So let's talk a little bit about San Francisco, and that's what we're talking about when we talking about in relationship brother against gun. Even though you spreading all out and you about to go across, different. You said Oakland as well.
Oakland, Richmond,
Vallejo, so
Fairfield.
which is real big,
Yeah.
because even though the hype is that crime is high, it really isn't as high as it used to be.
Right.
As far as unless we talk about property crime, and of course property crime is going to go up because there's less jobs for the unskilled.
Right.
Correct. There's more jobs now for high tech
Right.
than it is for those, and I won't even say unskilled. I'll just say for high tech.
Right.
Right. So let's talk about the crimes let's talk about the conditioning that lead a person into a gang or into the criminal element. How did that even happen? What's happening with our youth here in San Francisco that they even biting into this system?
Well, Frank, you post something on Facebook the other day, man, and I read it and I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't comment on it because, I always liked it. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't hit like because I just wanted to see what everybody's reaction was, what you said before I even hit like. I'm going to hit like tonight, though. But I'm just saying it's the concept that we don't get on why these young men fall victim and fall trap is because we too busy ignoring them and not talking to them and asking them what they want. We too busy telling them and talking at them instead of talking to them and talking with them and having a dialogue and discussion about what they want. See, we'll give money to the community and we'll give money to organizations, but where's that money really going? That money's going to pay salaries. So if I got $150,000 and I know that I need that $150,000, to do X, Y, and Z with it. So why not take $150,000 and take two of them youngsters that's shot callers on the block and hire them and put them to work to do outreach in the community to start putting together a concept on how they pull these young brothers in, sit them down, do their resumes, get them to get rid of that stinking thinking, that positive living, you know what I'm saying, and get them ready to be job ready. See, we can get you a job, but how long you gonna keep the job? Because if my mentality is still messed up, Frank, and I'm still on the block type of attitude thinking, then I'm not gonna ever change. See, I gotta give you a transition on what's gonna really make you change. So just because you got shot at last night, that ain't gonna scare you because one factor is that these young men and women don't fear nothing because they don't have God that's pushing them into their life and their heart. See, when we was younger, we had to go to church.
Right.
Big mama, our mama, made us go to church.
That's right.
Religion always been in our household. You walk in Big Mama house, Bible sitting right there at the front door.
That's right.
Bible sitting next to her chair. You know what I'm saying? So we had to go to church. Now it's not put in the perspective to where these young men got to go to church. Why? Because the generation have lost that. It's been watered down. So if I'm giving you 2 glasses of full water every day when you with me and you go home, you're getting 3 glasses of dirty water. What concept? Who's winning?
Well, see, that's what I like. And now we starting to talk about the conditioning, right? And that's what's, had me bring up that question. So to even take it a little bit further, even though it's a lot of conditioning going down, taking away, God was taken away from schools, right? You can't pray, right? So we starting to see the after effect of that. But let's even go further. So why isn't there a pipeline, man, from high school to employment anymore? The industrial area gone, President Ronald Reagan got rid of that. Corporations is running everything, and they running the schools too. So tell me, what's with all the backward learning that our children are getting, the miseducation, and how is that leading into even the roles of broken families because they living in poverty in San Francisco at a very high rate, right? But at the end of the day, keeping it back focused on our youth, there's no pipeline from school to employment. Why is that?
But it's a pipeline from school to the penitentiary. It's a pipeline from the streets to the penitentiary. So the reason why it's not a pipeline from school to employment or to universities is because we're not consumed together as a community anymore. Everybody's, you know what I'm saying, is looking out for themselves. Everybody's trying to see how we can feed ourselves. Back in the days, you know, if you didn't have a rice, you can go next door to, you know what I'm saying, Miss Lucy over there and get you a cup of rice. You can't do that no more. It's not there no more. You got housing authority, you got the housing projects with people who have their own little candy shops, you know what I'm saying, and they may need a 2-liter soda. They got to go buy it. They can't just, can I get a 2-liter from until I get paid? It's no more of that friendliness, togetherness, communityness anymore. So we got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, what pipelines are we creating, because these young men are coming from school into the streets, but they don't have, it's a big gap right there to where's the employment piece at? Because one, Frank, is that no one wants to come to the community. We come to the community. We meet you at your vulnerable need where you are. We're not gonna sit there and say, well, come down to my office. I don't tell nobody to come to our office on Evans Street because I'm in West Point. I'm on Harbor Road. I'm on Oakdale.
You in the hood.
I'm in the hood. I'm in Shoreview. You know what I'm saying? I was telling this white person the other day, I said, you know, he lives by me, and he says to me, you know, well, I live right around the corner. I live by you. I walk through Harbor Road. I walk through Kiska. I said, yeah, you walk through there in the daytime. But what about at night? Walk with me at night. Come drive with me at night. Because, see, I drive through there and I walk through there at night because these young men know me. They know they know a real storybook. So don't tell me because you walk during the daytime that you got to pass. Everybody got to pass in daylight. You know what I'm saying? But at night, it ain't no daylight. So we got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how do we bridge the gap, you know what I'm saying, with this pipeline from school to employment, you know what I'm saying? Because college ain't for everybody, Frank.
Well, let me say, you know, I know you had also at campaign, you had ran for District 10 supervisor. And one of the things that you campaigned on was about the nonprofits that's not working, the nonprofits that are working,
right,
and the ones that were working then got defunded,
right,
and how if you had got elected, that you one of the top things of your agenda was to get those programs that were effective and were working to restore them. So what do you see happening now within San Francisco as far as, you know, what's available for our youth, man? I mean, other than being babysitted in some of these, you know, little classrooms, like after school programs where they really babysit it, they not really getting help with their homework.
Right.
These schools can't afford mentors, right? They not getting tutors like they should. I'm just keeping it 100%. A lot of them not getting the tutors that they should be getting.
Right.
And after school is over with, and any after school programs that we're paying all this money for, you know, they just being babysitted. What's going on?
Well, let me just say this before I get into that. I want to give a shout out to DeBray Carpenter, Tony Kelly, Ed Donaldson, Marlene Tran, and Malia Cohen, because we were the 6 candidates that ran, and it was a competitive, real hard competition, and it turned out real good. So big shout out to Malia. She won. You know, congratulations to her. But I want to say,
congratulations to her.
I want to say to that is that, you know, after talking to Malia, she's working on that now. You know, I can honestly say she's putting together a package on trying to help these babies get the right proper education, get the right proper tutorings and after-school programs, and fund the organizations that needs to be funded that's doing the work, that's being effective, and such as like Brothers Against Guns, you know, Renaissance, Turf, you know, organizations like that that's been effective over the years. She's working on trying to put something together, you know, in that concept to make things work and be better, you know, for the community. I see a lack of, you know, willingness by organizations that really, you know, want to do the work, but just talking about it and not so much being, you know, involved in it and being effective with it, you know. So I just think it's just that it's time for us to really, you know, stop sugarcoating things, Frank, and stop, you know, putting a Band-Aid on it and really start just opening up those wounds and really, you know what I'm saying, getting out the disease that's in there and flushing it out to make sure that, you know, the kids that's going to these after school programs, that's in these daycares, that's in these schools and these after school programs is really getting the proper services that they need. And I think that, you know, it's going to take brothers like me and you to keep putting it out there. You know, organizations, again, like you said, that was defunded needs to be refunded, man, and that's effective, you know.
Well, let me touch a little bit. Let me go even a little bit deeper on that subject with you. So, you know, it's amazing how, you know, the slogan, children first.
Right.
Is it really just a slogan? Because I'm really trying to find it hard to like really conceptualize that, for the simple reason that even in San Francisco, man, you know, we had other guests like Sojourner Truth, you know, on our show recently talking about Miss Jackson, talking about even the high rate of foster children that's coming out of San Francisco, man, at alarming, especially out of Bayview, like 80%, like out of
It's
Bayview,
high.
Hunters Point alone, these children going into foster care and stuff, man, it's like, so, and that goes even back into what the community had to provide, and also the funding of programs that could do better if they had the funding, which with limited resources, like you might only have two or three people on your staff. How can you touch a large amount of people like that? Well, so what do you see that we need to do? What's needed here?
We got to keep on putting the pressure down on City Hall, man. I mean, you know, as I said, you know, Malia, she's working on that issue right there. You got a brother named Theo Miller who's really big on, you know what I'm saying, supporting the cause of what's going on with the Black agenda. You know, I mean, we have to keep on pressing, man. You know, we have Amos Brown with NAACP. He's pushing, you know, the agenda on the Black agenda, what was not being said and not being done. I mean, at an alarming rate, we had 3%, man, of the population in San Francisco. And folks is, you know, moving up out of San Francisco, period, out of Bayview, you know what I'm saying, out of Viz Valley, out of the Western Addition, you know, Lakeview, you know, Ingleside, all over. We're being pushed out. You know, I drove through Sunnydale, man, the other day, man, and I seen 48 units, man, 40 to 68 units boarded up. You know, that's ridiculous, man. I drove through Hunters Point, you know, Harbor Road and West Point, man. A total combined, man, you have like almost 70 units boarded up. You know, I mean, and it only take $12,000 to refurbish them. And you know, President Supervisor Breed, she been pushing that agenda from day one, and she found money to rehab those units. You know what I'm saying? It's just the concept of this putting pressure on City Hall, making City Hall understand that we're not going nowhere. We here, yeah, we at 3%, but we're not going nowhere. And the other thing is, too, they say that there's no more black leaders in San Francisco. I beg the difference, man, because I'm a black leader. I'm one of the black leaders, you know what I'm saying, in San Francisco. You know, and like I told everybody, you know, if we don't stand up, we're going to keep falling. But we got to stand up. You know, we all can't be the spokesperson, but somebody have to be the spokesperson to spread this word.
So before we wrap it up, I want to ask you another question then. So still speaking around our youth and the conditioning, San Francisco and where it's headed toward, man, in my opinion, it's headed toward a single society. It's even an article came out today that San Francisco has turned into a tech society.
Right.
So with that being said, why is it so hard? Why is it so much bureaucracy around just trying to solve solutions such as, for example, the work that you do with violence? I mean, is it really that hard to solve violence right here in San Francisco that's with a population of about 800,000 people? Is it really that hard? I feel as though if they want to solve it, it could be solved. It's always going to be some type of crime, but it could be really reduced. And you as an expert, I would just like for you to just name at least 2-3 different solutions that you think could be used, you know, to help reduce the violence, man. And I know employment may be your number one, but not take away your answer, but let's hear what you got to say about that. Because you're the expert. I want to hear what you got to say about it.
One, Frank, you know, it's not hard, but it is hard. because it's not hard if you got the right proper funding to do the work. You know, it's hard when you don't have the proper funding to do the work.
So one is funding.
You know,
It's funding.
It's funding organizations that can really get to the nitty gritty, that know what's going on, because then you can actually, you know what I'm saying, put it on the table and talk about it and get things moving forward to be able to help these young brothers. Back in the, you know, middle 80s, early 90s, you know what I'm saying, and middle 90s, you know, Mayfield started Turf. And all these brothers got jobs with the city. All these brothers was involved in a lot of street crimes, including myself, you know, drugs, gangs, all the stuff. All these brothers that's my age now bought houses, moved out to Antioch, Fairfield, got city jobs, and they work, and they still working. We did the same thing, me and Kim Mitchell, the similar, called the Redirection Program. We took 60 young brothers, 20 at a time, put them in a classroom setting, taught them about for 10 weeks. They did 5 weeks in class and 5 weeks on the job training. Mayor Gavin Newsom promised that at the end of the 10 weeks, he would give them city jobs. All 60 of them had city jobs. To this day, 33 is still working for the city. These young men that was involved, they were shot callers. We lost some a few of them to jail and to death, and some of them just fell off. But these 33 still working, city jobs, brought houses, taking care of their families, working, moved up out of the city, which is okay. You know what I'm saying? Some of them still live in the city, but they're working and they're doing good. So employment is the other issue. And, you know, and the other issue is housing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these young brothers is trying to find a place to stay. They living from pillar to post. They living with their grandmother, their baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Then they can get with another woman and get her pregnant, living with her. She put them out. Then he go to the next and next. And that's how we get that population going of having that so-called stereotype called baby mamas, baby daddies, which I can't stand. I hate that because I'm nobody's baby daddy. You know, I'm a father to mine.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There
I'm
you
a
go.
daddy to mine. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so we have issues with funding, education, housing, employment, you know, and just overall, you know what I'm saying, black men sitting down and being able to get some mental health. Because they don't want to talk about it, man. But we have really mental health issues, man, and we don't discuss it. And when we start discussing those issues, I'm telling you, brother, you're going to see a dominant change of what's going on.
Well, you know, there's a whole lot of healing that need to be done.
A
you
lot.
know, I think it's Dr. McGrew. She got a book called it's called Post-Slavery Syndrome. Right.
It's deep, and they need to read that.
It's really deep, man. But you know, it's like the immediate that I see, in which I am in agreement with you, is that we need funding for the programs, the existing programs that really work, right? So the children, it's about exposure. What are they being exposed to, right? So if you get exposed to crime time after time again, eventually you're going to bite into it.
Right.
You know, if you steady being neglected and your parents have been neglected, like your mom worked at 16 years and then she got laid off work, right? And then your father, you know, he was in and out the penitentiary or whatever, and whatever those situations look like, because a person could be rich today and broke tomorrow because the stock market crashed, right? And then that pressure, right, that induced frustration to say, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now?
Right.
And what did that shows to the child? And then the child, like, I got to help feed my family. And then next you know, they saw an easier way to go get it.
Right, in the streets.
Right, in the streets, right? So the social modeling concept that you put out there, you know, such as hiring people such as yourself who turn their lives around, that's working in the trenches, they turn their lives around, and they going back into the community to touch these youth. Man,
Right.
I'm you, because they gonna listen to them before they listen to somebody like us.
Exactly.
Even though we one of them, but we older. Right?
Right.
So when you got some around their age is out there campaigning and bringing them, and they seeing them change, like, wow, I like that. I think social modeling is the real big piece. But none of those don't really get the effect unless those programs are funded. And I think for city government and for the San Francisco School District, San Francisco School District need to reevaluate itself. And I'm not saying, I'm not looking to point fingers, but they need to reevaluate themselves too.
Well, look at Willie Brown New School, man. You got 10 kids that already got kicked out of the school. The principal quit already. And so let me just add this one thing too, Frank, is that one of the biggest problems that we having within this San Francisco city is that these brothers is coming home from jail, from San Bruno, from the penitentiary, and we go in there and we talk to them, but we're not giving them resources to go see who they need to see to stay on the right track. So when they come home, they go back to the TLs. They go back to Hunters Point. They go back to Sunnydale. They go back to Fillmore and Lakeview, and they get caught up. We have to be right there when they come out. Go see Shawn, go see Frank, go see Kim, go see this brother, go see Sean Joyce, go see this brother, Victor or whatever, and say, they told me to come see you about getting some help on getting some employment. We're not doing that, man. The gap is gone. And therefore, because they're not funding the organizations to do that type of work so they can meet them at their most vulnerable needs.
But one thing I will say, there's a few that's doing it right now, and even that need to be funded, right?
Right.
And I'm going to tell you from the inside, out looking from the inside of it, that even within the criminal justice system, where right here, San Francisco is really doing a whole lot when it comes to the San Francisco Sheriff Department, San Francisco Adult Probation, the work that they doing as far as even with the CAS Center downtown and some of the limited community-based organizations are connected, such as my program, CX Finna program, where we are in contact with them. We meet with them 90 days before they get out. But as far as for the youth, at Juvenile Hall and those type of places, and you got like Corey Monroe and those that go up in here and
all
do
the time.
thing
Corey
up in
doing
there,
excellent
you know
work.
what I mean?
Him and Jack,
from Omega's Boy Club, right? And so, but we don't have enough because, I went to some of the power people, and all of them, but I went to some and I'm like, well, for example, No Violence Alliance Project, how come we don't have more funding for that? It works.
Exactly.
Why we not getting the money we need for it? It works. For the things that work, why we not getting funded? And when you get to looking at their budget isn't that high either. So I'm like, well, let's look at the chain of where the money coming from. If it's coming from the feds, it's coming in the block, it's coming to that state, then it get broke down, and some is going to the court system, some is going over here, and a lot of it is mixed up in some bureaucracy over there, paying salaries, man, before it even come down to the programs. So by the time we get to the programs, it's already cut up, right? That's funding rather the district attorney office, rather it's public defender office. So then by the time it come to community, it go a little grant for like 10, 20, 30,000, maybe 100 at the most. You know what I mean? And then you got 90 organizations or 100 some organizations fighting over that.
Right.
Then by the time that get broke off, because, we want to please some people, right? They not even getting that much of the pie out of that.
Exactly.
Because
you
the
got
bottom
3 or 4
line is that
subcontractors.
3 or 4 subcontractors, and the bottom line is that those limited programs still are not getting funded for even infrastructure. But that's a whole nother subject, man, because we run out of time. But I want you to have the last word. I want you to give us some of your hopefulness of what you see in the future for our youth.
My thing is this, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I just see that, San Francisco can be fixed with these young brothers and sisters of color. We have to figure out how City Hall need to start working with us. We shouldn't have to work with City Hall. City Hall should have to be working with us because we're the ones with the blueprint, the ones with the ideas, the ones that's connected to the community and the streets that can change these young folks' lives and make them well off, better than what they are now. So I just feel that I'm very hopeful. I see great things coming. I'm sitting at the table right now with a group that's really powerful, that's going to really make some changes, and I just see things getting better and brighter, for the city of San Francisco. But we just have to do our part, and we have to force City Hall and the mayor to really work with us instead of us working with them, because it shouldn't be that hard to fix this problem, and I know that, people out there have their ideas and their own agenda, but we have to come together as one and not the big eyes, little I's, the big E's, the little E's. We have to come together as a team because there's no I in team, And so I want to say thank you, Brother Frank, for having me on the Frank Williams Show. Very powerful, brother, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, Shawn. I really do.
Love you, man.
Love you, too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it live from Mr. Shawn Richards, and we just covered, this brother that started, who was the founder of Brothers Against Gun BAG in San Francisco, and now they moving out to Oakland and Antioch and about in Northern California. That's a beautiful thing. And we just want to, showcase one of the leaders here in San Francisco, let y'all get to know a little bit about him. I hope you learned something today. Hope you tune back in to the Frank Williams Show, where we discuss real issues. Good night.
Open my mind with the truth, dearly. Open my mind with the truth. Open my mind with the truth. Now I'm gonna live my life like it is. Open my mind with the truth, dearly. Open my mind with the truth. Open my mind with the truth.